Hi, everybody. I just wanted to give you a bit of the backstory behind this episode on people pleasing and overgiving. Terry and I talked in this episode about how we both either people please or overgive. After we recorded the episode, the next day I got a call from Terry, and she was saying, "Hey, I'm not sure that I represented myself properly." And I thought to myself, I don't know that I represented myself properly, because we did not have the opportunity in such a, short conversation to dig really, really deep. So we thought, should we still air this first conversation? And both of us agreed that yes, indeed, it was a very good first conversation. So we're airing it raw and unfiltered, and then what we're going to do is probably have a follow-up conversation. Now, in just having these conversations, I learned a lot about myself. It was like therapy with a friend. I hope it stimulates a bit of discussion around these concepts of people pleasing, overgiving. Particularly women are involved. Now, I also want you to share this with your friends, your loved ones, anyone who you think will benefit from this conversation. And if you comment, hit the like button, subscribe, that will support this channel so that we can get this information out to more people in the world. Thank you so much. Terry, welcome to my podcast. We're talking about people pleasing today, and I thought of you.
Thank you so much for having me. I love having discussions with you. It's just so much fun and so engaging. So I'm happy to be here.
Well, before we get into it, I just really want to thank you for being a collaborator on my podcast. We were likely going to interview similar types of people in the, holistic wellness space. And you have that Shine.online, that platform that helps people to find out, the resources, practitioners, health information, all of that stuff. So I really appreciate the collaboration that we've had so far.
I love it. Thank you. I think it's great. And, having built a platform for collective use, I believe in the power of coming together. And because, the sum is greater than the individual parts. The whole is greater than the individual parts. So coming together, we can create something beautiful.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that. So let's, one of the reasons I thought about you for the people pleasing podcast, because I was actually going to do a solo cast. And I thought, you know what? I'm maybe different. Everybody's experience is different. Maybe I need somebody with a slightly different take on things. And I thought, okay, well, I'm the CEO of people pleasing, but I thought of you.
Thanks, I guess.
But anyway, yeah, I thought of you because we've shared a bit of our struggles, and yeah, so maybe we could start by talking about what it is to you.
Yeah, I think this is such a huge topic. We could go into so many different directions. I think we could go into attachment styles and all things like that. I think in some ways it's a way to get love. It's a oxytocin hit to the brain. It's a way to regain some form of power or control on our own lives. There's just so many things that people pleasing does, right? And that it means to me. And then part of it is also um, overgiving and just having weaker boundaries so that you tend to give more than you should in
Yes.
order to please someone else. And so at the core for me, I think it's about giving to the point of depletion of my energy. I think
Mhm.
that's how I would view it. What about you?
Um, well, I think it is an instinct that we have to, keep people happy and be helpful, especially if you have some empathy, if you see somebody like if I see somebody who needs help just in my vicinity, I will run to help them. And but sometimes you got to think about, oh, are you actually trying to help them or are you really trying to get validation because you've
Mm.
been trained to be a certain way, you
That's
know?
a good point because you mentioned in a conversation before, I'm picking up on the word training, you said, about a cultural aspect to it,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Like, okay, so uh, we are conditioned, right, from the get-go, like men and women are conditioned. We're conditioned by our religion, we're conditioned by our community, our culture, the society at large, our parents, big one there.
Yeah,
They condition us to be a certain way, the whole notion of be a good girl, be a nice girl, be
yeah,
a nice boy or whatever. It applies to males. I just think it applies way more to females than
yeah,
males.
yeah,
And so, yeah, there's all of these random external authorities are speaking for you
yeah.
as to what you should do.
And we probably have a little voice in our head too from our childhood saying, like that wasn't nice. And, just the critique,
Mhm.
going and running a script in the background. So, yeah, and I think also there's a cultural aspect, there's religious aspects. There's some religions that are really stronger than others, I think, in terms of promoting selflessness, like, ignore your needs
Yeah,
in for the benefit of others. And so, very young, if you grew up in a very religious household, not naming any specific religions, there's could be cultural as well. It's, that notion of if you think about yourself first, you're selfish. It's
right.
wrong. It's bad. You're going to, go to the bad side on the afterlife, right? So
That's right.
that doesn't help
Mhm.
be a healthy, productive, well-balanced adult later on in life.
Right, right. And I know I was a people pleaser until I finally recognized it at 30, in my 30s. When did you first recognize that you were a people pleaser?
I I'm going to give you a very brutally honest answer. Probably about a month ago when we
Oh,
spoke.
wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Because
No.
honestly, I would have always said, I'm not a people pleaser, I'm just a good person, right?
Hmm. Right.
So I never ever thought of myself as a people pleaser or an overgiver. I just thought I'm normal. I'm helpful. I'm empathetic. I'm caring. I'm giving. I'm nurturing. And dag nabbit, this is what's normal,
Right.
never really realizing, and life is a process of discovery. And I'm
Totally.
still learning and I'm still discovering about myself. But having the label people pleaser, honestly, I never thought of it until you and I had this discussion about a month ago. And I thought,
You're kidding.
no, I'm not kidding. I never realized it. So that discussion that we had was really helpful because it brought a mirror to my face and my personality and my energy levels that I hadn't looked at. And it's all that notion of something that's too good sometimes can become bad, right? There's
Mhm.
a fine line. There's a
That's
fine
true.
line between being a good person and doing too much to the point of self-harm. And I'm still discovering that. For years, I didn't understand where that line was. And
Yeah.
I
And
was
and I think
focused on my energy more.
and I think it's partly because you have a high degree of empathy. I really do think, which is a wonderful quality, but the thing is, at what cost is the issue, right?
That's the thing.
Yeah, and so for me though, I understood at 30 that I had actually been a people pleaser, and I didn't see it as pleasing just one person. I realized, when I was in my 20s making decisions about marriage and all of these things, I was actually, looking at, oh, what does the religion say? What does the culture say? What does the community say? What does society want from me? What do my parents want? And I made decisions based on the expectations of other people. And it was only at 30 that I realized, hey, and I actually, during my separation, I went to my brother to visit him. And I said, you know what? I feel like I'm on a train going to a destination that I don't really want to go to.
Mm,
Like, talk about the lack of control
yeah.
of your destiny. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you bring up a really good point, and you brought up a memory that I guess I had suppressed. When I was doing my PhD, I had a massive burnout. It was a horribly abusive environment, and so I burned out, and I during that time, and so I would have been maybe 25, 24. I was asking myself, why am I doing this PhD? Why am I like killing myself doing this? Am I trying to impress my parents? Am I doing this for them? So
Right.
I went on to a journey of discovery and realized, no, this was really what I wanted to do. So, but I needed to have that burnout and that time for self-reflection. And here's the thing, I had always been the good girl as a teen. I never rebelled. I spent my Saturday nights on the porch swing with my parents watching, Sunday nights watching Lawrence Welk. Like I
Hello.
was are
Hello.
you too the good girl? And so when I had that burnout at 25, I never went through that rebellious phase.
Yeah.
What is my identity? Is this really me or is this people pleasing? But here's the wonderful thing is I came to the conclusion that was really me. I was really the weirdo who liked spending time with her parents, and there was nothing wrong with it.
Mhm.
So, but I thought there had to be something wrong with it because I didn't, go through that rebellious stage.
Yeah.
And I was very lucky because my parents never put any kind of academic pressure on me. So they were proud of me, but academia wasn't a priority in our household.
Mhm.
And so I really was doing the BA, the MBA, the PhD for my own quest of self-validation, of feeling important, of
Okay.
feeling like I was worthy.
And
That
that's
was my
okay.
reason, was worthiness, not people pleasing.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, underlying the people pleasing is this lack of worthiness,
Yeah, yeah.
I was really interested in this article that I saw. It was an independent student publication, and it was talking about people pleasing, and it was from Ohio University. And I'm really glad that Gen Z is actually talking about these things,
Yeah.
because I don't remember us talking about it, knowing about it, and we didn't really look at it as sort of a mental health type issue,
Absolutely right.
you know? And I think that's what I want to bring to light is it can become a mental health issue,
Yeah.
right? So I'm really glad that Gen Z, I'm really proud of Gen Z because they're on it. They're talking about this early. They're saying, hey, and the article was called um, People Pleasing is Exhausting.
I love that. I love that. I was saying earlier that my focus had been on my energy levels. And, especially with a brain injury, I have to constantly monitor where my energy battery is so that I don't. The gift of my brain injury has been paying attention to my energy levels. And it's only recently and since our discussion that I realized that overgiving is depleting. It's incredibly depleting. And so, how can you recover from illness or injury, when you have the mindset of overgiving? And I have a friend who has chronic fatigue, but as soon as her adult children need something, she drops everything to go give them drives to work when they could take the bus or an
Mhm.
Uber because they are employed. But I think it's just the programming of either what we're supposed to be as a person, as a daughter, or as a mother. It has such an impact, and we don't realize how much it drains our energy. In the end, we're the ones paying for it.
Yeah, and you know what? It is really we women, we hold the reputation of the family traditionally,
Mm,
and so we're more susceptible to please people. We're more susceptible to be agreeable and nice and helpful and strong and responsible and all of these things that people want us to be, even when we're not feeling that way, you know?
yeah.
So now there are some upsides to people pleasing. For example, everybody wants to be liked.
Hmm.
We like to be liked. It's kind of an instinct. We all want to be liked. And by the way, there's an evolutionary component to it because people were in tribes way back when. And if you were liked as part of this tribe, it was important for your survival. That's how you would get safety and fed and shelter and all of that kind of stuff. If you walked away from that, if you were this weird person, they might, say, this person is not part of the tribe. So there is that strong evolutionary component. And if you think about that and the conditioning of women for centuries and millennia, right?
You're right.
We have massive doses of this people pleasing instinct.
And the other thing too is as career women, we now know that we really do need to be on people's good sides in order to get seen for promotions, or if you're networking and you're a business owner, there has to be an element of congeniality and an element of people like you, because
Absolutely.
that's what gets you viewers, that's what gives you clients,
Yeah.
that's what can give you promotions. So
Yeah,
there's a survival link to it, right?
absolutely. Like the teamwork. So we were both in the government. Teamwork, if people don't like you, they're not going to be part of your team or they're not going to want to work with you. So there is an element of, being liked and approved of by the team. That's
Hmm.
important. I think what we're stressing here is when it goes overboard, where there is a direct cost to you. So
Yeah.
maybe, I don't know, Terry, maybe you can give me an example of the cost to you when it
Right.
becomes a harmful thing to
Yeah.
people please.
Yeah, no, I think it comes down to, for me, it comes back to energy levels, right? If I overgive, and I think my soft spot really where I overgive is my parents because they're elderly. They're on like barely survival government subsidies to, to live. They're on the, Canada pension plan. So they're like poverty level and, so I help them out financially as much as I can. I then drive the 5 hour trip on weekends to go help them out and help my mom with her computers and spend time with my dad in the residence. So, but what is tough is that yeah, I will overgive financially where, then I can be in debt. And then I definitely overgive in terms of time because those trips, the driving, again, with my limitations of my brain injury, the driving is just so depleting.
Yeah.
And 2 nights over there and I'm unproductive for a week because I can't function. So where's the line, right? Especially when it's your parents. That's a hard one.
You know what? That is where I have difficulty. That's why I'm a recovering people pleaser because at 30, I realized, hey, I'm on the wrong track. My brother pointed it out to me, and he actually gave me a great tip at that time, which I'll discuss later. But um, yeah, I realized, okay, I've been meeting everybody's expectations, and now I can't even tune into my own voice.
Mm,
And to me, that was I realized that that was an ultimate self-betrayal, you know.
yeah.
But at 20, what did I know? I didn't know anything about this. I didn't know that I was conditioned. I wasn't even aware of what I was doing. So, yeah, that's why I kept going. And then now I'm having those issues with the parents.
Mm.
You know, I've always been there for my parents. Like you, I had no problem hanging out with my parents. I love my parents. I don't know. I don't know why I called you, but now I know.
We have that in common for sure.
We have that in common. And, when my father passed away, I was like, oh my God, I can't have my mom pass away too. So it was almost like I'm going to kill myself to keep her alive, So I
Not
went
fit,
through,
not literally, right?
well,
Figuratively, I hope.
yeah, but no, honestly, like, some people say, oh, I would die for that person.
Right.
I never felt that until my father passed away, and I was like, I will die for my mom. You know what I
Mm.
mean? It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
that feeling was so strong. I realized, okay, that was pretty intense, but at what cost am I doing this? And there was a cost.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I just thought of another area that might be popular for many people. A lot of empaths are drawn to narcissists, right? And like that's a pattern we're seeing.
right.
And for me, where it's been bad is I always see the good in people. So I've attracted partners who were not very nice to me, and I always forgave them. I always, saw the good in them, and so it's that's where it can be harmful as well when you're tolerating less than you deserve, right?
Right. And our religions tell us to be forgiving and give people chances and all of this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? That we're all flawed. And so, if our partner is flawed, well, we've got to forgive them. And,
Right.
because that's
And
what
even
God
not
would do.
Right. And even not just religion, but even in the spiritual world, we're like, well, it's all about unconditional love, and if you want
Right.
to be a spiritual person, putting even religion aside for a second, you want to be a high vibration person. That's a spiritual person. That's all about unconditional love for people. And unconditional love means you don't judge someone for their flaws, and you
Right.
understand that's part of the human condition. But I
Mhm.
do have a bit of a beef with how I perceive this is much more of a woman thing, because when I go to, my dad was hospitalized before he went into the care home, and when I was speaking to the nurses and the doctors, they were saying it's we only see daughters here,
Mhm.
right? We
Right.
rarely ever, like 0.5%. This is what the doctors and the nurses were telling me. 0.5% is the sons that come
Right.
and bend over backwards when their parent is in distress in the hospital or in a home. And so that's one thing, is maybe it's just our natural instinct to be caregivers. It's our
Yes.
motherly instinct. And so
Absolutely.
that can go too far. That's a good thing, but can go too far. My second beef is in business. My value is to treat my staff and my team with dignity and respect, and honoring them when they don't feel well. We are not
Yeah.
pushing, we change deadlines. We
Right.
honor each other's energy levels. And for me, having a company and a team and staff where we respect each other, it is part of people pleasing, but I want to set that tone.
Right.
But by contrast, I can see multimillionaires, men who are absolute, excuse my language, to their staff, and they can still be so successful. And that boggles my mind. Like, how does that work? Why do you still want to keep working for a jerk?
Right.
I don't get that. I don't understand that.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, you know what? We think about feminine energy and as being more collaborative and more connective, whereas the masculine energy is more aggressive
But
and
if a woman acted like that, she would be called the B word,
that
right?
is
And she
correct.
would absolutely be shunned,
That's correct.
and it would not be socially acceptable for a
Yeah,
woman to act that way in
there
business.
are still double standards,
Yeah.
there are still double standards. And I watched this program on Martha Stewart, and she was that woman who was acting quite like a man, and oh, she was very highly criticized.
But
So
she was very successful.
that's
So does
right.
that equate successful? Do you need to be a jerk to be successful? I
It
don't know.
depends on your definition. That's what I think of
That's true.
success. For me, the definition is I don't equate that with money,
Mm,
and power. I equate it with a really harmonious, environment.
life. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no drama life. And I think that that's just something that as I've grown older is such a priority for me. No drama life. Like, I don't want that. And you're right, that's priceless. That is so priceless to have some kind of an environment, a lifestyle where your nervous system is not being thrown into fight or flight all the time.
Right.
That's
And
so important.
both of us having taken all this nutrition and all holistic nutrition, we understand that the importance. It's just how do you implement it?
Yeah,
What do
yeah,
you do to implement?
yeah.
So I thought we might just talk about our experience and um, maybe tips that we have for people. Because I have a great one that my brother gave me.
Well,
Uh,
go for it. Share it. I can't wait to
okay.
hear it.
All right. So, I was on that train going to some destination I didn't want to be at. So, and I remember my brother saying, listen, Isme, what you have to do is put 10 on what you think and put 0 on what everybody else wants. And I did that. And it was like, it was easy to implement. It's like, oh,
Really?
yeah, yeah. It was easy to implement because I saw that, oh, I wasn't even tuning into what I think or what I need. All the other voices were much louder.
Mm-hmm.
These random external authorities, right? They
Right.
were louder than my own voice. And as a result, I lost my voice. I lost my direction. I did not have
Mm.
control over my life. And at that same time, remember uh, Phantom of the Opera? That was the thing at that time. And I would listen to the music of the night, and he says, let your soul take you where you long to be.
Wow.
And I thought, gosh, I didn't let my soul. That's what I did wrong. I didn't let my soul take me where I long to be. That's because I didn't know I had a soul. I wasn't aware. But yeah, so I had to grapple with that. Carl Jung says that if you're doing all these things with people in mind, then that is actually a soul fracture.
Mm.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very linked to my tip.
Okay. Go for it.
So I never associated with the term people pleasing, but I did in the past associate with overgiving and rescuing. So I do associate with rescuing. I think that's why the bad relationships trying to rescue. But somebody told me something that made a huge impact and it was kind of a spiritual take on it. So if if you're trying to people please to the point of rescuing someone,
Mhm.
you are robbing them of their chance to grow
Right.
and to learn their own life lessons.
Mhm.
And from a karmic perspective, for those who believe in karma, I'm taking on another person's karma. And when they said that, I was like, I got enough with my own. Like, I've got it up to here. I can just barely handle my own crap in life. And I don't need to be taking on other people's life lessons.
Right.
So I was trying to please by rescuing, by alleviating someone else's pain, by taking on a burden that wasn't my own. And that was the biggest thing, is that I'm actually harming them from learning what they came into this life to learn.
And
You,
our friend Allah, I was sitting in a class and I was talking to her about, helping others, that I helped as much as I could, but I still felt the responsibility of helping. And and Allah just said to me, you know what? Each person's journey is their own. You have to allow them to heal on their own terms and in their own time.
yep,
That was my problem. I didn't think that I thought I needed to help them heal. No, it's on their own terms and
yep,
on their own time. That took so much of a burden off
yep,
of me,
yep,
you know?
yep. And then the second tip that I would have is um, I am just very uncomfortable with discomfort. And so sometimes, you have to understand that you can't save everyone. And it's coming back to yourself and saying, okay, like, let's take an inventory of my life right now. How am I doing? And how can I help someone else without it depleting me, or, giving what from a place of joy, not a place of rescue,
Right.
right? So, and then being able to offer that help from a place of joy, but being able to be able to tolerate someone else's discomfort
Right.
if I can't give,
Mhm.
right? That's the hard part, is being able to tolerate someone else being in a state of discomfort when going to help would cross those boundaries for you.
Yes, and speaking of boundaries, that's my tip. The second tip is setting boundaries.
Yeah.
People pleasers don't want to disappoint people. We don't like it. We think, oh, we're being selfish or we're being cruel or. And you don't have to be unkind, but you do have to set boundaries. And that's something you have to learn over time. Now, I say that I'm still a recovering people pleaser because it's very hard for me to set those boundaries with parents, with kids, with grandkids.
Yeah.
It's very difficult
Yeah.
because I see, oh, what do they need? What do they want from me? Let's give them that. Well, it
Mm.
may be a little too much.
And that leads me to my third tip, which is education. I think our compass of what's mentally healthy can be skewed
Mhm.
by the programming that we have, that we need to be a good person and thinking about ourselves as selfish. And I realize that many of us don't know what a healthy boundary is. Many of us don't know what self-regulation is. So we tend to sometimes try to overgive or to help others in a way to get a dopamine fix when we're feeling down. It can
Mhm.
be like a drug, right? To help others. So I'm realizing that sometimes we don't understand what is healthy and a healthy no, and what is an unhealthy no, where you're just being mean and cruel and a jerk.
Right.
So where's that line? Because sometimes we feel like saying no means you're automatically a jerk. But
Mhm.
there are times when saying no is actually healthy. It's a
Right.
good thing. So my third tip is really about relearning that. And I've got a couple of books that I think are really helpful. I think the classic one that can really help with this murkiness of boundaries is Codependent No More: How to Stop Controlling Others and Start Caring for Yourself by Melody Beattie. That's a classic. Like, that's
It
been
is.
around forever.
Right.
And I think it can really help us understand that need for overgiving and boundaries. And then there's another book called there's a couple of books on boundaries. One is called Boundaries: When to Say Yes and How to Say No to Take Control of Your Life, by Henry Cloud. And another one, The Book of Boundaries: Set Limits That Will Set You Free, by Melissa Urban. So
Lovely.
those are some really good ones. And I love books. I've got a stack right here. Two more that I want to show. This is really a popular one, is The Gift of Imperfection by Brene Brown.
Lovely.
I love that
I
one
love
because
her.
I love her.
Yeah.
So it really understanding that it's okay for not perfect, right? It's okay to stumble. And then another one is Real Love, understanding what love is, because sometimes we try to people please as, oh, my stack of books is falling. We try to people please as a way of feeling love and
Right.
feeling acceptance.
Yeah.
So recalibrating our boundaries of what is love, or our understanding of what is love, what is proper boundaries, what is self-worth, with understanding the gifts of imperfection. Those are all things that will help clarify our compass so that we know and feel better about saying no and not people pleasing.
Okay, well, you've done a really good job of covering the saying no piece. So I'm going to choose another thing, and that is maybe make peace with feeling guilty.
Yeah,
Because guilt sometimes draws you into doing a bunch of things that you really don't want to do.
yeah,
I'm not there for the person. I'm such a bad person, but the question is, are you there for yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Are you living an authentic life?
Yep.
Are you tuning into who you truly are, not seeking approval and validation and love?
Love isn't about, people pleasing and giving everyone what they want. It's about respecting each other's boundaries. It's a new understanding of love, is respecting someone when they're not at their best. And that means me being respected when I'm not at my best.
Yeah.
But that
And
guilt, oh my God, that guilt.
guilt, the
How
guilt.
do we get rid of that? That's a
Well,
tough one.
that is a tough one, but it's normal to feel guilty. And when you're going through the process of changing your people pleasing attitude, you will feel some guilt because you're
Yeah.
not used to saying no. You're not used to disappointing people.
Yeah.
So make peace with that guilt and say, you know what, it's okay because I need to do this to care for myself.
Yeah.
Right? I need to do this.
And one thing that you're saying that's, triggering a thought in me is it's almost like people pleasing is addictive, right? Again, I'm coming back to the dopamine and the oxytocin hit that
Sure.
we get when we feel good about, but it's almost like we need to look at it as an addiction and it's one day at a time. So, baby steps, just one little victory every day, just practicing saying a no for a little something and then allowing that to grow and allowing yourself to feel uncomfortable with that guilt. And the more you practice, the more you're rewiring the pathways in your brain where you are able to then be at peace and with your boundaries and with your limitations.
Mhm. Well, that's a great note to end on. And I really hope that this discussion has, helped people to get some insights on what people pleasing looks like and maybe question whether you're a people pleaser. And if you are, I hope we've been able to provide some strategies that helped us. And please comment and let us know if you're still struggling with it, how you overcame it so that we have more tools in our toolkit. And yeah, and if what are your takeaways from this discussion? Thank you so much. Thank you, Terry. I really appreciate this discussion. It's been really deep, meaningful, and heartfelt, which I knew it would be with you.
Thank you, Isme. We always have amazing discussions. So thank you for inviting me today. This was a lot of fun.
You're welcome. Thanks. Love you.
Love you too.
Bye. Thanks everyone for watching, and don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe.